So fiction is the favourite child on socials, and being the classic middle child black sheep that I am, I'm going against the grain and giving you some non-fiction recommendations. So suck on that! Suck on that? What? Just enjoy. I'm also a bookseller on the weekend, so you can trust me. And it's been my lifelong bookselling mission to convince people that non-fiction is cool, which it is because it gets conversations started. So as a bookseller, I always get asked, do you have any gift books on Melbourne for someone that lives overseas or for someone that loves the city? Well, finally, your prayers have been answered. Oslo's Melbourne. Great collection of Oslo Davis's illustrations over the last few years that have been featured in the Monthly, Saturday Paper, etc. Chronicles his sort of love-hate relationship with Melbourne. Very funny, and yeah, as you can see, all these little illustrations are gorgeous. So we're seeing the effects of climate change literally on our front doorstep. And I know it's really hard to look, but don't you fret. Award-winning climate scientist and lead author of the recent IPCC 6 assessment report on climate change science, Joelle Gerges, that's her, has a guide to rekindling hope not only in ourselves, but the world. Now, if you're like me and are a little bit unsure about the science behind climate change, but are wanting to do their part, make a contribution, Humanity's Moment is a case for that. But this ain't no ordinary science book. Joelle gives us her personal reflections working on this report, but it's told with such a poet's sensibility. It's entirely accessible. It's not a dry science book. It's a call to action for people on the ground to do something, and that does really make a difference. So this is perfect for anyone that's wanting to make a change. Oh, look, you're so cute and fluffy, yes. Sorry, easily distracted. But look at that face. That's a pretty normal reaction to koalas though, right? But what do we actually know about them aside from being cute? Not much. Enter Koala by Danielle Claude. Danielle is a natural history author and biologist, and in this book she basically looks at the history of the koala, how it came to be such a animal with celebrity status in our country, and kind of dispels a few myths about koalas. And we all know what they are. They're slow, they've got chlamydia, they've a bit the drop bear story. They are so much more than that. Danielle captures this Australian icon perfectly. And what must be done to ensure their survival? Now back to the cuteness. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to go into a family business? And what if this family business was a farm and you were a city boy? And what if you got a call from your mum one day saying that your dad had stuck his hand through a wood chipper and then you had to go back to the farm and your whole life trajectory was upended? And there's like castrating cows and picking up poo and fence post things and lots of heavy machinery and Thankfully, that is not my experience. It's Sam Vincent's, and he chronicles this experience in his memoir, My Father and Other Animals, or How I Took on the Family Farm. This is a hilarious and surprising look at life on a farm, but also a meditation on belonging, regeneration, and what a sense of place means to a community and a person. I loved this book, and yeah, a big, great holiday read. Now, I'm a huge history buff, but I have to confess, I've always been under the assumption that Australian history is a little boring. What an idiot. Thank God, though, I got to meet renowned historian, all-around fabulous person, Frank Bongiorno, who is the author of the new book, Dreamers and Schemers, the first full political history of Australia. This book is great for anyone wanting to learn a little bit more about their political backyard, or for people that are Auspol freaks, in the best way possible. From early political Indigenous systems through to the rollicking beer halls of the 1910s and 20s, to the forgotten figures, and right up until democracy sausage days, Dreamers and Schemers covers the full political history of Australia and is definitely not boring. I loved it. Holidays are usually a time of transformation, change, being a better person, caring about the planet, reminding yourself of the values that you hold dear, and sticking to them. But you got to pay the bills. And then there's the economic issues, and oh my God, that just seems too much for one person. And what's the government doing to help? If only I had a renowned economist like Ross Garnaut, for example, to bring together Australia's brightest minds and show us that Australia can get to zero net emissions and we can be a leader on the world stage when it comes to climate change solutions. Thank God there's a Superpower Transformation, edited by Ross Garnaut. This book actually gives us a practical plan to becoming an economic superpower. He reveals 5 resources that give us the most to gain economically, and that the new opportunities are much larger than the old. We can do it! So, as a bookseller and general creative Renaissance woman, I'm eternally curious about the creative process, whether it be in music, art, and in this case, writing. How do these authors come up with such fabulous concepts and ideas? What drives them? What inspires them? Do they have heroes? And as I glided past the counter, what did I see but the Writers on Writers series? The latest book in this collection is an amazing essay written by Geraldine Brooks, talking about Tim Winton, a bloody national treasure. She looks at his creative process, of course, but the ways in which his writing has influenced her own and vice versa. It opens up the conversation around creativity and creation. And for me, it was just so inspiring, and I hope that it's inspiring to all of you as well. Now, I'm a huge history buff, but I have to confess, I've always been under the assumption that Australian history is a little boring. What an idiot. Thank God, though, I got to meet renowned historian, all-around fabulous person, Frank Bongiorno, who is the author of the new book, Dreamers and Schemers, the first full political history of Australia. This book is great for anyone wanting to learn a little bit more about their political backyard, or for people that are Auspol freaks, in the best way possible. From early political Indigenous systems through to the rollicking beer halls of the 1910s and 20s, to the forgotten figures, and right up until democracy sausage days, Dreamers and Schemers covers the full political history of Australia and is definitely not boring. I loved it.